kids who are engaging in homosexual behavior, I think often look inward and know that what they're doing is unnatural, is wrong, is immoral, and so they become depressed, and the instances of suicide can rise there as well. The president of World Vision USA, Richard Stearns, has said in the past, quote, "No one ever died of gay marriage." Well, I would introduce him to the plague of AIDS. Those who claim to be fighting against bullying in public schools, you are the worst kind of bullies, and America is on to you. And we at Liberty Counsel are going to continue to educate the public on the reality that the self-described proponents of tolerance and diversity, those who claim to be fighting against hate and bullying, are oftentimes the most hateful and the biggest of the bullies among us.
You know, conservatism does not embrace, endorse, and affirm homosexual behavior, homosexual sin. There's nothing conservative about sodomy.
Yeah, the homosexual activist agenda, they are at the forefront of child corruption. That's a major part of their agenda.
How dare we, in our system of education, encourage kids to embrace this homosexual identity and engage in behaviors that demonstrably put them at risk?
The enemy, Satan, hates the institution of natural marriage and wants to see it watered down. And what is central to so-called gay marriage? Homosexual sin.
Finally, the homosexual activists figured out that it was not politically expedient to lock arms with and align themselves with the pedophile movement. So they're kind of, you know, I say they're ideological cousins is really what they are. Homosexual activists are in rebellion against God. They have to try to appease and dampen the internal turmoil that they feel, the confliction I think that they feel in their soul, because inherently and intuitively they know that they're engaging in behavior that God calls abominable. And
yeah, the aberrant sexual behavior, the twisting of normal human sexuality that is involved, that would be involved in order to consummate a so-called same-sex marriage in all 13 of the original colonies was a crime. And in many of the colonies, a crime punishable by death. Now, do we advocate that? No, of course. But the point is, that was the mindset of the framers as they drafted the Constitution. INDA, the Employment Non-Discrimination Act, so-called, has always been the crown jewel of the radical sexual anarchist progressive left. They want to get this in place because they realize that it would make sacrosanct all forms of sexual perversion.
I think, God has written his laws on the hearts of every man, woman, and child. Every individual engaged in the homosexual lifestyle who has adopted a homosexual identity, they know intuitively that what they're doing is immoral, unnatural, and self-destructive.
The use of the term homofascism has caught on nationwide, and people are starting to use that term regularly because they're thugs. The homosexual agenda, I don't mean people who identify as gay or lesbian or themselves. We're talking about a political fascist movement here, the LGBT political movement. They are absolute thugs, and this past year or so, more than ever in our history, we've seen case after case after case that proves that reality.
The question was, a woman, an elderly woman, was at a homosexual rally, and she was carrying this big styrofoam cross, and she was knocked around. It was caught on film, and no charges were filed. They took her cross and stomped it and crushed it into tiny bits. That is a microcosm of what we're up here. And I thought something that immediately occurred to me wasn't that a metaphor for what we're up against? It's about the cross. It's about the cross and about a hatred of Christ. And who is what? The way, the truth, and the life. They hate the way, which is Christ. They hate the truth.